Man, in this video, I want to talk about prayer. Now, let me just start with being honest. I know you struggle with prayer. I struggle with prayer. I think every Christian man I've ever known has felt like he has an unhealthy prayer life. It's one of these areas of our spiritual lives that we can just feel like we're stuck in a rut, and everything we do just is like a routine, and we're just going through the motions, and there's just never any sign of strengthening or of maturity. And we can easily just feel despair when we think about our prayer lives. And I don't want you to stay there. And so part of CT12 is we want to help you grow in the fundamental disciplines of Christianity. And of course, one of those is prayer. Now, the way I want to begin is I just want to talk some language. The basic template that we use for cross-training when it comes to prayer is called a meeting with God. Sometimes we talk about a daily meeting with God. Sometimes it's a weekly meeting with God. I want to talk about why we use that word meeting. And let me put it to you this way. If your boss says that he wants to have a meeting with you, do you show up? I'm all but confident the answer is, of course you do. Yes, you show up when your boss wants a meeting. Now, let me ask you a different question. When you should be having a devotional or quiet time with the Lord, do you show up? And probably sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. Part of what we want to do is change our mindset with prayer. And rather than treating it like an optional exercise, we want to feel like, okay, the Lord Almighty, He wants to meet with us. So why on earth would we skip that? Or why would we even feel the freedom to skip that time that He wants to meet with us? And so we call it a meeting with God. Now, something else I want to talk to you about. When I was first taught to pray, I was taught an acronym, ACTS. Adoration, confession, thanksgiving, and supplication. And it's a really helpful way to remember the key parts of prayer, but I've always found it to be an unhelpful way to actually pray. It's a little bit like if you've ever tried to drive a stick shift car. It's like if you can imagine trying to start in third gear and then you're supposed to drop into first, and now you're supposed to shift up to fifth and to second. Just to move from these motions, like, okay, I'm supposed to be in adoration, and now I got to switch to confession, and now I've got to do thanksgiving, and I've got to wait to do supplication. It just feels unnatural. And so what we want to do with cross-training is we want to set you up so you've got something simple that you can remember, but also something that is thorough so it takes you through the different elements of prayer so that you make sure that you're praying about all the things that need to be prayed about. And so we've got a 6-step method we use that's the basis of our meeting with God. And I'll tell you it, and then I'm going to walk you through it so you know how to do this. And I can guarantee you, if you do this 2 or 3 times, it'll stick in your mind and you'll remember it. Okay, so here are the 6 motions. First, look up. Secondly, look in. Third, look back. Fourth, look forward. Fifth, look around. And a 6th, look back up. So I'm just going to take you through these real quick. First, look up. We want to start prayer by getting our mind off of ourself, off of our circumstances, and onto God. And that's what it means to look up. And there's a variety of ways that you can do that. And you can check out menneedhelp.org for some suggestions. So first you look up. Secondly, you look in. Now the idea of looking in is, as men, we carry a lot more anxiety and worry than we're even aware of, and a lot more than we'd ever share with anybody else. And so what we want to do when we look in is we want to I tell guys, take a piece of paper and think through your life, and whatever you're anxious about, externalize it and write it down. You'll find if you take a few minutes, you'll get a long list of things that are really weighing you down spiritually and emotionally. Now what we do, write those down, but don't just leave them on paper. Pray through that list. What you will find if you pray through your anxieties is that peace that surpasses all understanding that Paul speaks of. You'll be amazed by how it feels like God all of a sudden is shouldering some of that weight and you feel relief. Now, step 3 is look back. So when you look back, whether it's just to the last day or whether it's to the last week, what you're looking for are things to confess and things to be thankful for. And if you take a few minutes, you'll find plenty to confess and plenty to say thank you for. Step 4, you look forward. When you look forward, just picture, the day ahead or the week ahead, and regardless of what's going on, there will be things where you're looking at your calendar and thinking, I need help. I need the grace of God to get through this meeting or to get through a particular project or, something that's going on with my children or my spouse. And so, as you look ahead and you can see these difficulties, why not pray in advance? Why not get God's grace involved ahead of time so you walk in equipped and ready for these things? Step 5, look around. Now, the key here is so often we're fixated on our own problems. And what we want is to take a moment and just to detach from what concerns us and to say, what am I missing? As you think about your family, or as you think about people who are coworkers, or as you think about your church, what's going on around me that I've had this tunnel vision and I've missed, and pray for some of these things and these other people. And then that 6th step, that last one, is look up again. So finish your time of prayer, eyes off yourself, eyes off your own task list, eyes on who God is, and let that knowledge of who he is carry you into your day or into your week. Now, just one more thing I want to say. Ultimately, with Cross Training, we want to lead you in the place where you have a weekly meeting with God. And with a weekly meeting, you would dedicate 30 minutes to an hour to this exercise and go through very thoroughly. But in CT12, you're not there yet. And so what I would encourage you is, just as you start your day, just go very quickly through these motions. Look up, think of a single thing about God, and that's really praiseworthy and that can fix your heart. Think about what's causing you anxiety. Look back, look forward, look around, look up. Just get used to the motions. And you can do this in the morning. You can do this as you're walking from your car to the office. You can find that 3 or 4 minutes just to go through these motions. And as you get used to the motions, eventually what can happen is you can scale this up and you can do a weekly meeting with God where you really set your life before God regularly. Now, guys, again, my hope is that this is simple. My hope that this will help give you some traction and that this will give you something to talk about as a band of brothers. Because all of you guys, you're all struggling with your prayer lives. So why not talk about the struggle? Why not have a shared template? And why not grow into a richer experience of prayer and of walking with the Lord? May the Lord bless you as you seek to serve him and seek to grow as men of prayer.